Live from New York, it's Saturday night.
You're not in New York.
Yeah, I know. And I'm barely alive. So
Live from Facebook, it's Saturday evening.
Late afternoon,
Saturday evening.
Hey, Brian, glad you could make it.
And Ted too, yeah.
And he says that sounded better in his head, yeah. Usually does.
The stupid friends. Dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun.
I just see it now.
Can't you?
I just see it now. Get to work.
Bill's gonna draw us up tomorrow. I hope I'm not Aquaman.
The stupid friends. As super friends.
Just please, Bill, make me the Flash. Okay, not Aquaman. Yeah, I talked to Fish. Hello. You taste great with
lemon. Yeah.
Yes.
And there's Ace Bunny. Hey, Ace. And
Hey, Ace.
Hello, Ted Davies. You were actually a topic of conversation at a wedding today.
Oh, you got some explaining to do, Lucy.
No. Ted came up in conversation at a wedding today in Georgia, of all places.
So whose cousins were getting married?
Weren't mine.
Ours.
Ours. Yeah.
Hey, Joe, was there a mad father and a shotgun involved in that conversation?
No, there was a relieved father because, hell, they've been dating for, 7 years now?
Close to it.
Hey, like my sister and her husband, they were shacking up for 20 years before they ever got married.
Yeah, the entrance theme for the Flower Girl and Ring Bearer was Leia's theme.
And Luke's theme.
The bride came down to the Force song.
Okay.
And they were going to leave to Bohemian Rhapsody, but it wouldn't play. I told them it should have been the fanfare at the end.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Where they cheated Chewie out of the medal.
Yeah. Well, they just couldn't get him to put the collar on, you know.
Bill, yeah, and I still say Chewie got cheated out of the medal because he was a Wookiee. Yep. He was discriminated against.
I think it might have been something about him having been 8 feet tall.
Well, that, and he was a little bit resistant to having the cufflinks put on him.
The handcuffs, yes.
Yeah.
I've always been resistant to those too, no matter how pleasant the outcome might have been.
So, Bill, if you do include me in that Super Friends and Stupid Friends, I'm putting in my request for Green Lantern.
Green Lantern?
Yeah.
Chris Lantern, Aquadan.
I will hunt you down.
I've got to be Superman because Superman was the leader.
And since John's kind of a,
I want to be Space Ghost.
Hey, there's.
I thought you were going to be Batman.
No, I'll be Bat Dan.
Bat Dan.
Bat Dan.
Yeah.
John can be Aquaman.
No.
I want to be Space Ghost.
Space Ghost. That sounds good for John. That's a good fit.
But Space Ghost wasn't one of the Super Friends.
He should have been.
And
well, maybe later on.
Well, they were both Hanna-Barbera, but
and he had an invisible jet, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
They kept wrecking into Wonder Woman's invisible jet.
Well, they kept trying to get in the same parking spaces.
What is that aircraft storage facility out west, John?
Monmouth.
Yeah, Monmouth.
Davis Monmouth.
Yeah.
The Boneyard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Boneyard.
Okay.
Ooh.
There is a ladder propped up and 6 chalk blocks and said Wonder Woman.
I've seen that. I've seen that photograph. Well played. Well, that reminds me of something when the B-2 bomber was brand new and had just been revealed to the world. People were wondering why we didn't just spray paint some places on airport tarmac parking spaces with something that was a little bit would soak up the sunlight a little bit more and would appear a little bit warmer. And so we've only got 17 of the damn things, but it looks like we got 500 million of them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was working with a, they called it a PSYOPs unit, but technically that's not what they are. But they had the fake tanks.
Oh.
Okay. Now, what's cool about them is they had this backpack with a really big speaker on it. They'd hook a Walkman to it that had tank sounds, and they'd either drive around in a Humvee playing tank sounds on the speakers, or they had a guy with a backpack walking around pretending to be a tank. But that's not the cool part. The cool part was the little pop-up thing they had that you hooked into a portable generator, and it had heater elements built into it, like what you have in your defroster in the back window of your car. And it had this reflective material on it that looked like bits and pieces of a tank after it heats up. So you plug this thing in,
IR,
and if you looked at it through thermal viewers, it looked like a tank. You could even see like where the engine exhaust was and things of that nature. And our job while they were out setting these tanks up. Our job was to just walk around and look like tank crewmen. So while they were pretending to be tanks. So they needed warm bodies, because if you put a tank out there and you don't see anybody walking around it, you start wondering if it's really a tank.
Why is that tank out there all by itself?
Exactly.
Where is the group it supports?
Their camouflage was better. This was the one that failed the exam.
We took just to make it actually sound like a tank, we would do things like take track shoes off of our armored personnel carriers, put it on the ground next to the fake tank, take a sledgehammer and start beating on it. So you'd hear people working on the tank, and you'd hear bang, 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 metal on metal sounds. And they were like, nope, that's people doing maintenance on the tank.
Instead of working on the chain gang, it's clang, 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 working on the tank treads.
It works pretty good, except for one problem. Anytime you actually move an actual tank in the desert, you get a dust cloud off of it that's like 150 feet high and, a mile long. And, you can't move a tank over there 50 feet without throwing up a dust cloud.
So you get a big fan.
It doesn't do as good. You have to actually have something like dig up dirt.
Creates its own dust storm.
Yeah.
I believe somebody creative could come up with a.
That's
nice
why we had the armored personnel carriers. Actually, was to drive them around and make dust.
Yeah. Oh Lord, yeah. Which series was it that featured a APC crew went into an alternate universe? I think it was a
Hey
Brian
Dan,
Daly
Dan,
thing.
move
Yes.
your mic in a little bit too. Again.
You're always making me move something.
Well, we can barely hear. Got the same problem I had when I was using the microphone. I kept putting the microphone up, and it's a gaming headset. When you pull the microphone out of the way, it quits transmitting.
Oh yeah, well this one doesn't do that. It just goes above my ear. I can actually go into the settings and make the mic a little bit louder if you need it.
Already did it.
Oh, okay. Oh well.
Yeah, you sound better now, or louder.
That's what all the ladies say.
Oh, and I just saw that Brian Hawkins is having some issues with COVID.
Who?
One of the Rising Tide crew.
Okay.
Oh,
Luke Stone. Luke Stone's in bad shape now. Brian Hawkins is.
Oh yeah. He's one of the
Dastardly Dingoes, or
well that and well let me look. I mean I've got the information right here. Comic Book Spectrum.
Thank you, Carl.
One of the Comic Book Spectrum guys, as well as the Dastardly Dingoes.
Brian Hawkins is Eric Hawkins' brother.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, see, that's where we got mixed up.
Yeah. So yeah, throw out our thoughts and prayers that way. We
definitely.
Yeah,
there you go.
Oh, it does have the wheels. Okay, I thought they just had the chocks. They must have added the wheels since I saw it.
If they were really creative, they would have had and put the landing gear on the wheels.
Hello, Keisha.
Hey, Keisha.
Hello, Keisha.
Hi, Keisha.
Thank you for dropping in, and thank you for the little heart of love. We appreciate that. We like being loved.
Hey, we'll take any attention that Keisha will give us.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to love us.
Yeah, really.
And Carl says
don't happen often.
So many Brians and so many Joes, it's easy to get confused.
Yeah.
And it's and Ace Bonnie says, Keisha says we're easy to love, and Ace says for sure prayers and thoughts.
Definitely.
But yeah, when we're at HallowCon, people can holler Joe dog. Sometimes I don't, but hey asshole, yeah.
Your dog trained you well.
Well, his dog responded to "Hey asshole" better than
Joe does.
No.
It was like what was it? The jerk. The dog's name was Shithead.
Yeah. Oh, Chris has been over here, and she would stand in the yard. Come on, Ozzy, let's go. Time to go in the house. She'd just stand there and look at me. And finally, enough, asshole, let's go. Here she comes.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm wondering how much of that was the actual verbal cue and how much of that was the tone of voice. I'm not kidding this time.
No.
Oh, well, we got Pops Vincent here too. Yeah, old guys hour.
Hi, Pop.
Hey, Pops.
And how dare you call Chris old?
Yeah, really.
Chris is just a kid.
As the oldest person in the room and probably in the audience. I laugh at your jokes. Oh, Lord. I'm going to have to know before I leave for HallowCon. Are we actually going to do this chili cook-off thing, or is it
yes
been shut down by the OSHA and the health inspectors?
If they try to shut me down, I'm going to throw chili in their eyes.
Oh, Lord!
I did talk to Josh today. Finally, and he said he's having a gallbladder problem. And
That's
with that, he
not
believes that
trivial.
he may not be able to attend.
His gallbladder or somebody else's?
His. He went in to get some different tests done, I guess, the other day, and they said, we want to check something else out while you're here. And that's what they ended up checking out, and they're talking maybe some surgery or something. So it's still a little early, but
he may not be making it to HallowCon after all.
yeah, I told him about the being registered week in advance, and so anyway, that's what he told me. And I thought he was going to be in here tonight, and I did send him a link to both shows, but I'm not sure if
And
he
Bill,
is or not.
I'm very sorry. I tried to send you the link to both shows early this afternoon, but I kept sending them to Chris by mistake because I didn't realize I had clicked on the wrong name in Messenger.
I'd been so busy, and I got a early day tomorrow, so I will make a brief appearance on Last Man Standing tonight.
I've got a late day tomorrow. Believe me, I've got to sleep till almost 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh my!
Yeah. Otherwise, I'm going to be dead on my feet all night at work tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So,
well, if John will put up the picture that I sent him in Messenger on the screen, man, and I'd like to.
Is that what that is? Oh man, it's toys.
I just got a great idea.
How come no one sends me nude pictures? I'll tell you.
For the chili thing is, why not just do it as a room party?
hey, I'm at the mercy of whoever brings the crock pots. I'm not going to bring mine.
Why not?
Because my wife may want to use it while I'm gone that weekend.
$12 at Walmart. Come on.
You don't want to take away your crock pot.
I ain't taking nothing away from my woman.
I can. I've got 2 crock pots. Well, actually, I have 3. I've got access to 7.
Tomorrow.
Access may be indicated in this instance. Yes.
Tomorrow we're gonna start the eBay auctions for the toys.
What's her name?
The name of my friend's name is Laura, and her eBay store down at the bottom, MomCat63. And
K or C?
I'm sorry.
K or C? Cat.
C.
C. Yeah, all lowercase, MOMCAT 63, all one word. And if you look down at the bottom of the picture, that'll show you her. That's what it looks like. That's her cat Willie, that she uses for the thumbnail in the picture.
On the far bottom left, is that Captain Action?
Yeah, we have a Captain Action. Now those aren't those are just some pictures that I used representing what we're going to be selling.
Fraud. Okay.
Because I don't have. Laura's got all that there, either at her house or the trailer. I've been working on the stuff, and I've just been sending it to her. And I gave her some more stuff tonight, and then bringing the last of it tomorrow. So I went a different direction, and I'm going to go ahead and when you get on MomCat63 tomorrow afternoon, it'll show the actual items on there. So there is a Captain Action, and
up right now, does she?
nothing's up right now. No.
Okay.
No, it'll be tomorrow. We gotta be, she's picking me up around 9 o'clock, and then we gotta be over there and try to set things up by 11. So I'm figuring by the time the drafts that she has saved already, which is mostly the Hot Wheels, she's going to start an auction about every 5 or 10 minutes on each one of those. So some of that she'll get started, I'm guessing, around noon our time central.
Well, good work. I hope you make $1 billion.
Well, it's part of the estate sale that we had last month, but yeah, we get a cut of it, and but it's they help them darn Kramer kids who are now actually probably about your age, Dan. But we still refer to them as the Kramer kids because, I mean, we've dealt with all their stuff. I mean, this Major Matt Mason was one of theirs. Mm-hmm. So it's hard, even though I've talked to him a dozen times, you keep looking at all the stuff that they had when they were kids and that. So I refer to them as Kramer kids.
Well, always remember that walkers and hover rounds are expensive.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah. I got her listing page up and her feed.
Yeah.
That's a link to her
and,
eBay.
And you could just save the seller.
Yeah.
On that, and that's kind of how I do.
Yeah.
Well.
But yeah, all the cool stuff, the toys, the 12-cent comics, and that's all going to go on Momcat 63.
And she's got 185 positive feedback, 0 neutral, 0 negative.
Yeah, she is a very, very good. Her and the boss lady both are very good sellers, and she's been doing this since 2000. So she is excellent with all her listings, what she sells. As far as the description, she takes plenty of pictures, very good, clear pictures. And she responds right away if anybody has any questions about any of that, and she goes above and aboard to satisfy the customer on there. And then I believe it's typically next day is when she ships.
And while I was doing all that search for her eBay page, we had a flood of comments. From Ted Davies says, "Who's old?" Carl's saying hello to him.
Them sure ain't Ted.
And Ace is saying he's going to try to make 22. That would be a good idea. And Brian says, "Who isn't old?" And Carl is agreeing that it would be great for Ace to show up. Mm-hmm. And Ted's not old enough to be old yet. That's true. He's still a young pup.
He's a pup.
Yep.
Definitely. And there's another thing that you didn't show that Carl said to Ted. You don't have to show it, please. But I understand what they're talking about, and it's going to be way cool on a future Truth Bombers.
And Ace Bonnie asking you, how are the knees today?
Actually, the weather straightened up a little bit, and I'm able to walk without stooping over and hurting all the time. I have not had to take any leave, which is a good sign. A really good sign for me. Usually, I go through a bottle of leave in like a week, and I'm talking about a 50-pill bottle. So that's
like candy.
Well, it's like, oh, pain, let me take 2, okay, 4 hours later, it still hurts. Let me take 3. And
Yeah, you're wasting it at that time.
yeah, pretty much. But still,
Speaking
finally,
of,
when it all kicks in, and believe me, I'd rather be doing over the counter than prescriptions. So
Carl and them were talking about satellite.
mhm.
Um, you can actually listen in on Starlink, and you can the each Starlink satellite sends out a ping,
Mhm.
and you can actually track that ping across the sky with an antenna and a scanner.
Sounds cool. And very reminiscent of.
But
Thank you. I was reaching for the name but couldn't grasp it. Yeah.
yeah, it has the same thing, and it's a Morse code that beeps out, and it's some sci-fi phrase, and I can't remember what it is. Only, of course, Elon's got it transmitting a Morse code sci-fi phrase.
Well,
Klaatu,
of
Rada,
course.
Nikta.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, John.
Oh Lord, I did not get the rest of the yard mowed today. It turns out it was Saturday, first Saturday of the month, so I had Larry Niven chat. And Larry Niven has a brand new short story that he is shopping around, co-written with Stephen Barnes, and it is in the known space universe. So, people who are Larry Niven fans, watch out for this one. It's coming up. They're out there. They've got it done, and it from what Larry was allowed to reveal about the plot, it's going to be a good one. It really is. So
Nice.
you you heard it here second, because we heard it there first. Oh, yeah, and Larry's not a spring chicken anymore. We don't know how many more stories we're going to be able to get from him,
Yeah.
but he keeps typing. So, hey,
And we're all lucky for it.
oh Lord, yeah. I don't think that you're going to be able to persuade him to come to a convention very far away from California in the I started to say near future, but approximate future, because he does have his own uh, health issues that and they're minor. I mean,
Yeah.
he's
He's in
Lord,
pretty good shape for all things
he's
considered.
in great shape for his age. I mean, good grief, I'm not in great shape for his age, but yeah, he'll be making as many conventions as he can get to,
Yeah.
and maybe he'll be able to persuade Stephen Barnes to come with him, or people will invite the pair of them. It's not like you can invite uh,
Do we?
Jerry Purnell anymore
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna
without a
ask.
Ouija board.
I'm gonna
But
ask the crowd real quick. Do we still have Brian, Carl, and Ted in the room? I need to know if they're still in the room because I'm going to say something to them.
well, Carl just said something a few
That is
minutes
me
ago.
heard. Yeah.
Yeah.
And unless Ted just caught a frying pan upside the head, he's probably still here.
Well, even if he caught the frying pan upside the head, he'd still be here. He just wouldn't be conscious.
Well, yeah. Christine is
Okay.
nobody.
Brian,
Christine is nobody I want to mess around with. Oh,
oh
yep.
yeah.
Ryan says he's still here, so
Yep.
make
So is
your
Carl.
announcement. If they're not here, they can watch it on the replay.
They can watch it on the replay. Carl, Brian, I'm giving you full run of this. This is just a name. You can go with it as you please. Dan, you can use it too. I remember the Mustang.
Hell, I almost owned one. Um,
Is that not a good name for a book or a song or a movie?
It depends. Yeah, you could do all kinds of different genres with that too. It could be
Yeah.
science fiction. It could be fantasy. It could be cowboy.
I remember the Mustang. That just popped into my head today. I said, I got to tell somebody that. It's all across, and it's enough to draw your interest to whatever. What Mustang was it? What kind of Mustang? Was it the plane? Was it the car?
Ford.
Or the horse?
Yeah, like I said, you could fit that title into a lot of different genres, and probably 24 different stories with the same title, and have it fit. Yeah.
What?
Okay, Dan, since you're the music guru, what Joe just said about his title, I Remember the Mustang, put me to thought of the George Harrison All Things Must Pass album. And at the end of the side 2 of the album, he had like a big jam session that started out with It's Johnny's Birthday, and then it just went on to this long jam. But and they all had individual names, but it was all instrumental stuff. And I think one of them was called I Remember Jeep, if I'm correct.
I think you are. I mean, I'm not absolutely familiar with that because I've never owned a copy, but I do have friends that have played lots and lots of cuts from all 4 of the individual members of the Beatles and their solo stuff.
Yeah.
And George's stuff is very memorable, let me tell you.
Dan, you were there last night, when Carl said, when Carl sang to us, he can make it into a song and sing it in the green room. He said, except last night I was asked not to sing again. I do not know who said Carl could not sing again.
Nope, I don't remember who that was. Donna.
Speaking of singing, Don McLean turned 76 today.
Oh wow, yeah, he's still with us, isn't he?
Yep.
Long time ago.
I watched a video of some moron trying to put his own interpretation to American Pie.
Well,
no, I'm not being generous enough. It was plausible. It was using cultural references from the time. It could be, but as I recall, Don McLean finally broke down and explained a lot of the stuff from American Pie, and not all of it fit with this guy's theory. So let me just leave it at that.
I remember one interview. He said, I don't know where they came up with that shit. That's what Don McLean said.
Hey, you want to see me do my impression of Don McLean? Here's my impression of Don McLean.
There you go.
Except I don't have the red, white, and blue on me.
Yep,
on my thumb.
You didn't tattoo your thumb.
His biggest hit was featured in Black
And
Widow.
by the way, I Remember Jeep was one of the Apple Jams. Right before Thanks for the Pepperoni, which I have not a clue how he got any of those names.
Good night, Brian.
Good night, Brian.
Expect an email from me tomorrow about your panel and your panel topics, and I'll get with you on something else, because guest of honor gets to choose what time they want to do their panel or panels.
3:30 in the morning.
If they want to do it 3:30 in the morning, they can do it at 3:30 in the morning.
Can't guarantee on attendance, but if they want to.
I will tell you right now, if you schedule Stephanie Osford for anything before noon, she will hurt you.
Oh, I know. I've already been told.
I thought Joe just told Brian, expect a female from me tomorrow afternoon, and I wasn't going to touch it at all.
Maybe an Iron Man, but
And Brian is acknowledging the message.
I'm actually looking forward to meeting Cookie and putting a face behind the off-camera comments.
Hey, John.
Hey,
I
John.
met her.
I have yet to have that privilege.
Yeah, I think it was at the Georgetown Library, and I'm sure Brian could correct me on it if I'm wrong, but I believe that's where.
Out too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's what we get for doing late night show. Well, we could do it in the afternoon, but then we'd wind up with oh Lord, what was the guy's name that used to do the afternoon shows? Had all kinds of different guests.
Phil Donahue?
Phil Merv Griffin.
No, Merv Griffin. Yes, thank you. That was the one I was thinking of. Yeah. He actually, afternoon airwaves during that time period, he ruled for quite a while.
Yep.
Wasn't Merv Griffin the guy that wrote the theme to Wheel of Fortune?
He's the guy that started it's Merv Griffin Network. Yeah.
He produced it. Yeah, I don't know if he.
I think he produced Jeopardy too.
Yeah. The show itself. Yeah.
Yeah, he wrote the theme songs, and every time it plays, his estate still makes money on it.
Yeah.
Well,
because he did something with the copyright on the song that every time an episode plays, he gets paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, that's a standard thing in a contract like that. Yeah.
And John Stutz is Mr. Scarborough. You may remember John. He was the DJ at the skating rink up in Hickson.
I've slept since then.
But yeah, that's where John, and then he used to do the traveling high school dances.
Oh, hey, John, I'm the guy that kept running up to the DJ booth asking you to play King Tut by Steve Martin. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's still on his band list for that very reason.
He still owes me a couple.
Oh, heavens.
I wonder if Steve Martin, whenever he tours, which is not very often, with the Steep Canyon Rangers, if somebody in the audience ever shouts out, "Hey, do King Tut."
King Tut. Yeah. King Tut.
No, but I bet 15 people shout out, "Freebird!" Just to be assholes. Yeah.
His show with Martin Short is worth it.
Yeah.
Any show he does is worth it. Yeah.
He does a tour with Martin Short. It's actually on Netflix. And you think these two hate each other. And the best way to describe these two on stage is Corman and Conway.
Oh, Lord. That's a hard act to follow.
I could see that, though.
They don't lose it as much as Harvey does, though.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That's the thing about it.
They're both trying to do the Tim Conway side.
Yeah.
And
what? Ping ping
was the DJ for the guy that owned all of them, and then he did mobile DJ for 30 years. And then he went north.
You have our condolences.
Yeah. Josh just dinged me, said he'll be out. He'll be here in a few minutes. He was at a neighbor's house.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, I mean,
did the neighbor know you were at his house, or was it a brother?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe that's why he said he's going to be here in a few minutes, because the neighbor came home.
Sorry, I'm late. I was installing a new TV that I just got from my neighbor's house.
And if John goes any far north, he's in South Canada.
Oh, Lord.
Welcome to Ontario.
Hey, and there's Kerry Bloodrose. I'm glad to see you.
Kerry.
Hey, Kerry.
Yeah, we're just freewheeling at the moment. There's not any serious topic going on, but
The thing about Conway and Corman is Corman was constantly trying to get one over on Conway, and Conway would never.
it's not going to
make
happen.
out.
It's not going to happen. That
No.
man had a straight face like nobody's business.
But Corman could not.
Yeah,
keep from laughing.
Harvey Korman could not ever keep from laughing. I mean, all it took was just one little, just a peaked eyebrow or a hidden smirk or something, and
or just
Harvey would just roll on the floor.
And I think the best one is when Vicki Lawrence
Oh yeah,
got Tim Conway.
yeah.
Yeah. And Corman wasn't even there on that one, was he?
Oh,
That was Dick Van
I
Dyke
wish
sitting
he
on the
was.
couch.
Dick Van Dyke. Yeah.
Yeah, refresh my memory. What was
The
the
elephant
skit?
story.
yeah.
You sure have
Okay.
Pygmy
Oh.
elephant, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What?
It was pygmy elephant, wasn't it?
No, there was.
It was
an elephant.
Siamese elephant.
Oh
and
yeah,
the Siamese elephants.
yeah.
And
And the little monkey that danced a merengue on their trunk.
Oh man.
You know,
That's
kids-
my favorite.
kids
Yeah.
today are totally.
And that was on,
deprived
that was
entertainment.
on Mama's Family, wasn't it?
Yes.
No.
It was.
Carol Burnett show.
Yeah, but it was what Mama's Family sprung from.
Yeah, Mama's Family came from that. It was the.
Yeah.
It was a skit.
It was the backdoor pilot that they didn't know was a
I-
backdoor pilot.
I think they just referred to it then as the family.
Yeah, the family.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had. That's. And if you have Pluto TV, there's an entire channel dedicated to the Carol Burnett show.
Mhm.
Carol Burnett 24/7.
I watch it on MeTV. They have it on at 10 o'clock Yeah.
In your time, yeah.
my time. Yeah.
Kiri, we're good. How are you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Carrie, you okay? I hope everything's going well. Good Lord.
And Kate McKinnon has tried to do the Tim Conway stuff on Saturday Night Live, and Lauren Michaels has shut her down. Stay on script.
Oh boy.
That doesn't sound like Lauren Michaels,
No,
but maybe he's got a reason.
yeah, stay on script. We don't pay these writers for you to have fun.
Yeah, well, the thing is, Horatio Sands and oh crap, what's his name? Jimmy Fallon. They couldn't keep their straight face when they were doing skits together.
Oh yeah.
They were worse than Corman
And Conway, yeah.
Conway ever thought about being.
That's why Jimmy Fallon is doing so great with the Tonight Show. He actually forgot he's not doing the stuff that Jay Leno and Conan did. If you sit and watch the shows, it's a lot of what Johnny Carson. I mean, I'm waiting for Farmak the Magnificent.
Oh yeah, Carmack.
Karnak. Yeah.
Yeah. God, I missed that.
Jimmy Fallon's the most likable late night host there is right now.
And
Right now,
my
yeah.
favorite line of Karnak the Magnificent, sis boom ba.
Mine too.
Do you remember it, Dan?
Yes,
I
I do,
do.
but I'm going to give you the privilege of delivering the punchline.
What's the sound a sheep makes when it explodes?
So he actually guessed pretty spot on with that one.
Now, I actually had the chance to go see Johnny Carson's last show, and I didn't buy a plane ticket.
Mm.
I was on night shift, so I didn't take a vacation day. Didn't buy a plane ticket. Didn't buy a ticket to the show. I just went. You know, after all my life, from my teenage years watching this, I'm just going to have to let it happen and watch it the same way everybody else does on the infinite replay.
Yeah.
Yep. And actually, the last show, there wasn't a studio audience.
Yeah.
Well, see, I would have screwed up. I'm trying to buy a ticket. Yeah.
It was Bette Midler, and the audience that was there was actually NBC staff.
Yeah.
The last show was the night before, and it was freaking incredible.
Yeah.
I remember the one where he brought on bugger. Tom, what's his name? The one that was also doing the other late night show.
Tom Snyder?
Yeah.
No, it wouldn't. But actually, it probably wasn't Tom. The one that was actually doing the stuff that was closer to the Jack Parr Tonight Show than it was to Johnny Carson's Tonight Show. Letterman. There you go.
Letterman.
Oh, Letterman, yeah.
So they bring Letterman out, and he sits down, and Johnny looks at him very seriously and goes, "Well, how pissed are you?"
Yeah.
Because Jay Leno was getting the show instead of Letterman.
And Carson was mad about that too.
Yeah.
He wanted Letterman to have the show.
Yeah.
If you watch, Carson, I think 2 years later, did an appearance on the Letterman show, and he walks up and sits down behind the desk, Letterman's desk. Letterman gets up to greet him, and Johnny just walks in, sits down at the desk, and he sits there and he looks and he rubs the desk and goes, "No, I can't do it." And Letterman's standing there. Letterman wasn't even going to argue with it. He's going to let him have it.
Yep. Jay Leno is a fine stand-up comic, but he's not anywhere near the class of interviewer that Carson was.
Yeah. He doesn't have the connectivity with the audience that Carson had.
I always thought the person that came closest, which would not be close at all, but came in second, was Craig Ferguson.
Yeah.
I
have to interrupt for a minute because of Ace's comment there.
Thank you, Ace. We shall treasure that always.
I saw that earlier. I just didn't comment.
The one other late night host that I actually was interested in after Carson retired was bugger. Now I'm having a senior moment.
Conan?
John Stewart?
No. Totally different direction.
Chevy Chase?
Arsenio Hall.
There you go, Arsenio Hall, because he kept the big band feel as well as a stand-up, as well as being able to interview people really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he was good. I mean, the first run of his show. Now it ended after a time, and he came back, and they didn't have quite the same spark. But the original show, he had the band that could play a lot of stuff, and the bass player was John B. Williams when he had a John B. Williams poetry moment, and they had that little jingle with the piano. Which the closest thing I can think to being that cool is the Thank You Notes theme music.
Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah. No, I always liked the NBC orchestra.
Yeah.
Lord, those guys were good. Doc Severinsen, Tommy Newsom, the rest of the guys. That was they were fantastic for decades.
Yep. Great
And
musician.
I'm sure that they had musicians come and go, but it was just so constantly on target. And
Consistently
because
very good.
for somebody that came from a high school marching band sort of background like me, it's like you don't get to hear this kind of stuff anymore.
I'll tell you another skit that I would love to see Jimmy Fallon do. You remember the hunter that Johnny Carson did with the flaps on the head up on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
flaps? Can't think of the name of the character, but I remember it vividly.
Oh, I know the character, but I can't name him.
Give me a minute.
I believe he's from Minnesota, but I'm not sure.
Like Elwood. Oh shoot, no. I think that's somebody else.
Yeah, we know Elwood's somebody
Blue.
else, and Edwin is somebody else too. But yeah, oh Lord, there are so many years blending together, and this is why I worry about Alzheimer's, because I can't remember shit anymore.
Well, I think Conan kind of emulated Letterman a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. But he did take it in his own direction.
Well,
too. You got to give the man credit for that. He wasn't trying to imitate somebody. He's standing on the shoulders of giants.
He took the smart aleckiness and added a little bit of goofiness and snarkiness to it.
That's one thing that I really liked about Letterman. Was he took the Jack Parr goofiness of stuff, and all the stunt things that they did, like putting somebody in a suit made covered in Alka-Seltzer tablets and dipping them in a tank of water. And nowadays, nowadays it'd be a suit covered in Mentos and dipping them in a Pepsi.
Yeah.
Doc Severson is still alive and lives in Nashville, Tennessee.
Son of a... Mm-hmm. God bless the man.
And fixing to do a tour.
Lord, I hope he lives forever.
And he's probably got all those colorful suits.
Well, yeah. You don't think anybody could have buy those at auction, do you?
No.
Boy, those ones from the 70s were a real trip.
The ones he had in the 80s were.
The ones he had, period, were, yeah. You got to wonder if he bought them from the same guy that people like some of the country music stars bought. I can't remember the last name was Nudie. Can't remember if it's Jim or.
Oh yeah. He did the suits for a ton of people.
Yeah, all kinds of people at the
well, he did
and stuff.
Yeah, and also Michael Nesmith.
Yep.
Had a nudie suit and the white cowboy hat with the blue stars around it.
Mm-hmm.
And then who was the one that dated Emmylou Harris back in her early days? And then
no, you got me there. You got me there.
He was in the Birds.
Roger McGuinn.
He was in the Birds for a period of time. And
Roger McGuinn?
No, wasn't McGuinn, Clark, or Hillman, any of those. Not from the original, but a little bit later on.
I don't think it was
Richie
Clapton.
Foray?
Huh?
Richie Foray?
No. Might have to Google it.
Yeah, you might have to. I mean,
yeah, because I'm running out of ideas. I mean,
you got to go through various members of Crosby, Stills, Nash, Young, Gifted, and Black after that. But
Richie Foray was in the Flying Burrito Brothers, and he was also in Firefall and a couple other bands.
Oh man, there were so many super groups back then. I mean, people just got together for an album or two and drifted apart after that. But it's like those albums or two were something fantastic.
Well, you had that Southern California country rock thing going on between the Eagles, the Flying Burrito Brothers, and all those bands.
Graham Parsons is who I was thinking
Graham
of.
Parsons and the Rumor. Yes, indeed. That's a memory I haven't had in a long time.
He also had one of the nudie suits. A very similar one to Nesmith, and for the longest time, I thought that he got Nesmith's suit, but then I seen Nesmith wear his later on. He originally wore it in Nesmith originally wore his nudie suit on the Monkees TV special that was kind of a flop, but it was 33 1/3 revolutions per monkey. And he did a song that was kind of part rock and roll and part country, and that's where he first wore the nudie suit and the cowboy hat. But anyway, useless bit of trivia.
One of my favorite things, and he's done it so long ago, and I'm sure he hates it because it became so popular, but Lucy and Ramona and Sunset Sam. I just love that song.
Oh, yeah.
That's a guilty pleasure right there. It really is.
I love in Elephant Parts where he did a parody of his song Joanne and called it Rodan. And it was like probably 40 seconds long. You can find it on YouTube, John. And he says her name was Rodan, and
I'm not allowed to put stuff on YouTube on
I know.
Not live. No.
Not live.
Apparently, every time I touch YouTube while this thing's broadcasting, Joe gets banned from Facebook. So.
Oh.
Yeah. And right now, I do not need that ban.
You sure?
Not coming up on HallowCon's.
I could do it real quick. It'll take me a minute. Just go over here. And,
well, the whole thing is
out and,
he did it's like 30 seconds of it, I think, and of course
that's enough to get Joe banned.
Hey,
and
we can get Carl to sing it, and no algorithm would recognize it.
Hey,
so we would get banned.
You want to take over HallowCon Facebook for the rest of the month?
That probably would tend to be contraindicated at this time.
HallowCon 2021.
Yeah, you saw Chris cut a trail and run, didn't you?
No, he's still here. He's just got his audio dead and his video removed. So now why am I in the control corner here? Joe's got all the keys to the car.
I'm waiting to see Alice in the middle.
I need to learn how to do that.
I'm kind of in the Marsha Brady spot here.
We actually did the full 9 during HallowCon.
Yep.
Only problem is it doesn't do the tic-tac-toe box. It does
doesn't do the secret square in the middle. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it does. When you got 9, it does.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe we can put Paul Lind in the middle.
I was fixing to say we need to reserve the secret square for Paul Lind. Yes, indeed. God rest his soul.
And the bottom middle square for Charlie Weaver.
Joe, just had an idea. If we got Will Rogers on, he could do Paul Lind's voice.
If Will would ever return a message from me. He doesn't want to talk to me anymore. He's mad at me for some reason.
My friend Elton Jim Toronto does an excellent Paul Lynde impersonation whenever he's on WGN radio out of Chicago. with Dean Richards on Sunday morning or filling in or whatever. He does the laugh just perfect.
I miss WGN, and I miss the what was the one from Terre Haute? Late night.
WTHI maybe. Oh, that was.
I'm not sure. They played the King Biscuit Flower Hour.
Oh yeah, God, I remember
around
that.
midnights. Yeah, but that's where I heard a lot of people that this was decades before music videos.
Hey Joe, wasn't it WDEF that used to play the Midnight Hour or Midnight Special?
10 or 12? Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe in your area.
Well,
yeah.
I used to listen to the King Biscuit Flower Hour in the 70s on Champaign College radio station, WPGU, and they were great for playing a lot of album rock. Album cuts, and that's how I figured out about buying an album. My friend, he would always wait until whatever group would have about 3 or 4 singles off the album, and then he would buy the album. That way he wouldn't have to spend $1.27 for 45 and then turn around and wondering if the album, if it's good enough to buy the whole album. He'd do it that way.
Spend $5.99 for an album.
Yeah.
There goes my age showing again. Good Lord.
I don't remember the show, if it was an actual show or if it was just a late night concert that WDF showed when I was real little. But they had Hart and Kansas. And that was a great. I turned across it late, so I didn't get to see the whole thing, but man, it was good what I got to see.
I got to see one at the University of Georgia Coliseum, which has got horrible acoustics, but it was Sammy Hagar, and I think what was the one that was 7 guitars and a drum? Boston.
Yeah.
Sammy Hagar and Boston on the same set.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was an enjoyable 5 hours of my life that I don't even want to get back. I'm content with those memories. But Sammy Hagar was on point that night. He was blowing everybody away with doing some guitar pedal effects that nobody knew was possible back in that time, at least in the audience.
Sammy had some really good songs as a solo artist. Of course, he originally started out with Montrose, and of course, later on he joined Van Halen.
Yeah, and there were a couple of other people that were invited to join Van Halen at that time that turned it down.
Yep.
And those would have been some fantastic albums. Unfortunately, I'm having the senior moment and can't remember the names of those people.
Well, hey, Chris.
Some big names, though. I mean, really big names.
Hey, Chris.
Yes.
You mentioned Hart.
Mm-hmm.
Our oldies radio station, which you would be able to listen to it online. It's WKIO 105.9 tomorrow night at 9:00 Central. They're doing Hart live in, well, they say live in concert, but it's a recorded concert, and they do them every Sunday night. I believe it's either for an hour or 2 hours, and there are certain concerts from certain years. So I think this one is from 86 or 87.
I have seen Hart at least 3 and I think 4 times in total.
No, I didn't.
I have not been disappointed.
But Hart played Athens in that same crappy acoustic Coliseum. It's all concrete on the inside, so it's like a basketball stadium basically.
Echo chamber.
Yeah, And the big thing was the next day, the newspapers were full of the news that somebody with a gun had come in and stolen the entire ticket receipts for that night from the box office.
Wow.
Ow.
I don't know that they were ever caught.
Wow.
Yeah,
The
it's
first
like
time that I saw Heart was at Six Flags. It had come a monsoon that day, and we didn't even think we would be able to see the show. They took hair dryers and dried off the instruments.
Mm.
We didn't get to see the opening act, but they played the entire show. And Anne had a cold, and she still did a wonderful job of singing.
I saw Heart when Kansas opened for him at the UTC Arena. Now, is that not a
that's a
headline?
memory to cherish right
Mhm.
there.
At the UTC Arena? I don't even, or the Roundhouse. I don't even call
Yeah.
it by its name now.
Well, it's McKenzie now, but
Yeah. I do not acknowledge that guy. And you know, I've not been to a show since they renamed it after him.
I'm sorry to do this, Joe. Hey, Willow.
hello, Willow.
Willow.
I know it's your show. I shouldn't touch the controls.
Well,
but,
hey, you saw Willow say hi. I didn't. That's what you're here for.
Okay, Ace, what are you not worthy of?
Because I saw Heart.
I'm not touching the controls. I'm not touching the controls. I'm not touching the controls.
The best song I've ever heard Heart do was their cover of Stairway to Heaven.
Now, I've seen the video for that where they're in the concert for the Queen, I do believe.
The Kennedy Center Honors was another
Kennedy
one where
Center
they
Honors, to where
Robert Plant was moved to tears.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't think he thinks of it as that damn wedding song again. After seeing that.
Yeah, you can see the look on the entire crew, on the entire band's face going, they just stole our song. They just did it better than we ever could.
Oh, and Ace says he's not worthy because Willow is here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Willow just makes everything better.
Yep.
I will tell you another cover that they did an awesome job of.
What
was their cover of the Who's "Reign Over Me"? Love Reign Over Me.
Oh,
that would have been awesome. I wish I'd seen that.
You've not look up Betty LaVette doing "Reign Over Me."
Listen to Hart's version of it; it kicks ass.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is where the old guys drift off in the music of our youth.
And they did a cover of Rock and Roll off their 1980 Greatest Hits live.
Yeah. That I actually heard. Now I'm going to get killed by Laura because she's a big Led Zeppelin fan, but I actually heard the song "Rock and Roll" played by Heart before I ever heard it from Led Zeppelin. And I love both versions.
That's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah. I love both versions, but I kind of like Heart's a little bit better. So don't tell her, please.
I think you just did.
Well, no, I know she's not watching the show right now because she just texted me a little rant saying that she's still all the Hot Wheels cars that I gave her today, she's still trying to make drafts for the auctions for them. So she's usually in bed by now, but I'm keeping her up working.
Now, I've got to say the first official concert that I ever saw was Chuck Berry at Six Flags over Georgia in the Crystal Pistol. And I was like 12 feet from the stage. And
what year?
1974 to 75. Probably would have been spring of '75
Mine was
before
Rush
we graduated.
Memorial Auditorium in 1980.
So you got to see Rush?
Yes.
Oh wow.
Didn't know what I was in for.
Oh Lord, no!
And then the next one was Alabama.
Alabama, yeah. Sweet home Alabama. Yep.
I hate to brag, but maybe I probably should. My first concert was Paul McCartney and Wings Over America, 1977, Rosemont Horizon in Chicago.
Wow. That would have been a good show.
Definitely.
It was awesome.
That was just right around the time the DC-10, the engine fell off the DC-10, wasn't it?
Would have been
right
pretty
around
close. That era, yeah. Now, I've never seen very many concerts, but the ones that I have been to were exceptionally good.
Yeah.
And there's a photo album somewhere in the house that has my tickets preserved for all kinds of things. That's
I would have liked
the same one where I have the autograph photograph of John Pertwee from the convention that Patrick Troughton passed away at. I was supposed to be at that convention, but I was not able to get time off to go. Seems like the story of my life. They won't let me get off time to go to these things. And they turn out to be earth-shattering events.
One of your con friends was in charge of of that situation, dealing with the
aftermath.
No, the discovery.
Ooh.
And dealing with the logistics of getting in and out.
I do not envy them that responsibility.
Well, I tell you, a band I wanted to go see was Triumph.
And as far as I know, all three of them are still with us.
Yeah, but they're not playing together anymore.
Oh, they're retired.
There's a little bit of there's a little bit of division between the drummer and the guitar player.
Well,
that's what's wrong. Okay, I need new glasses. These frames are
here. You can have these.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah,
they're non-glare.
Get on Zenni website, ZENNI.
Yeah.
You can get some awful cheap glasses there. I just the ones, well, not the ones you've seen me on here, but I've just got some prescription sunglasses from them. And yesterday I just ordered some transition glasses, and they're really good.
You got a recent prescription though.
Yeah, recent prescription and a PDF, or
at the very least a scan of the.
I just got $20 off from America's Best.
That's where I got my other set of glasses from them.
And it's $59.99, so I can get new glasses with the bifocal for less than $80, 2 pairs.
Yep.
How's everyone doing tonight?
Oh, we're doing pretty good, Jerry. We're doing pretty good.
That's good.
Carrie's over there saying, "Who are all these groups that they're talking about? I just don't have a clue."
I'm sure that he recognizes the names.
It's the Lawrence Welk Show.
And 1, 2.
Yeah, well, remember, Lawrence Welk was one of the first groups on TV to do One Took Over the Line, Sweet Jesus, and did not understand what they were doing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was so funny. I was a kid then, and I saw it live, and I'm going, y'all don't understand what this song's about, do you?
Well, when I was very little, I didn't understand what Puff the Magic Dragon was about either, but I found out as
Oh,
I got older.
well, no. Puff the Magic Dragon was about being a child and growing up. It wasn't about drugs. This was way back in the 60s, and it was done by Peter, Paul, and Mary, who pretty much looked at the drug scene of the 60s and went, we'll just stand over here, okay?
I thought most of those folk singers were the ones that did the most drugs.
No, you're talking about Mamas and the Papas now.
Or John Denver.
Dan, I'm going to
Rocky Mountain
recommend.
High. That wasn't about West Virginia. Let me.
Yeah.
Nope.
I'm going to recommend a band for you, Dan. You can find them on YouTube. They've got a lot of videos on YouTube. Here Come the Mummies.
I saw a post about that just today.
They're fun. That's one of your adult party rock albums.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't doubt it. I'll recommend one to y'all, Hawkwind, but stick to the 80s and, well, the 70s, 80s, and early 90s stuff. Because after that, they kind of dissipated a bit as far as the membership. They weren't the same band anymore. They only had one original member. Nowadays, they've only got one original member still alive.
Yeah.
I got to address Willow Schuyler's comment that you just had up on the screen there. Willow, the song was not about LSD. It was about a drawing that John Lennon's son, Julian, had drew for John. And that's where he got the inspiration for it. Like Puff the Magic Dragon, a lot of people did. There was always that thing about, it's about drugs. But in all actuality, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds was not about drugs.
No, it was about Julian being a creative kid.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
and Hey Jude is about Julian.
Yep.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Paul wrote that.
The original title was A Jules.
Yeah.
Jules, yep.
And it was something Paul wrote to comfort Julian with the divorce of John and his mother.
Yes.
And not being able
Cynthia. Yep.
to have him around for his birthday.
That was such a sweet song he wrote for him, too.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
Hey Jude, for the longest time, WLS, every year, I want to say it was on New Year's Eve, they always had the top 100 songs of all time. And the number one song was either always Hey Jude or Stairway to Heaven. Yeah. They would jump back and forth, but it seemed like Hey Jude was up there more often.
Yeah.
Hey Joe,
now, if you're really a Beatles aficionado, there's a series of 4 videos on YouTube. It's called A Concert for George. Now, some of them dip heavily into the Middle Eastern stuff that Harrison got into, but then the rest of it is like this all-star band of everybody that the Beatles had ever worked with, and you wind up with Paul McCartney playing piano and singing, and just a huge bunch of people. Danny Harrison playing acoustic guitar.
Danny Harrison looking like a 20-year-old George Harrison.
Oh yeah.
And
things like him too.
Yeah, and Eric Clapton and who's the fellow from Electric Light Orchestra?
Jeff Lynne.
Jeff Lynne, and a bunch. Well, that kind of name dropping plus more. Ringo was drumming.
Ringo Starr, Phil Collins. There are a ton of them.
Yeah, I mean, it was really weird. I watched the video, and I'm looking there. They're doing While My Guitar Gently Weeps, and every drummer on stage just looking at Ringo, going, "Okay, look, give me the beat, give me the beat, give me the beat. I'm following you." And it's some of this is just mind blowing stuff. And
Well,
the Eastern music was really, really entertaining, although it's out of my wheelhouse and not my usual thing. But it was the same kind of thing that George was getting into towards the end of the run of the four Beatles being together and beginning to be into his solo career. So it's a
Now,
fascinating retrospective.
you were talking about Eric Clapton.
Hmm.
The best version of Layla I ever heard. The backup band was this group from sort of Georgia, South Carolina, called the Allman Brothers.
Yeah, I think I've heard of them before.
yeah, that's
Vaguely.
because Derek and the Dominoes had Dwayne Allman as the guitar player.
Yeah.
Yeah, the slide guitar, yeah.
Yep.
Do they make Almond Joy candy bars?
No,
Somebody does,
But yeah.
Peter
How
Paul
big are
does.
you when the Allman Brothers are your backup band? You're Eric Clapton.
Yeah. That concert though, I believe that's the one where they had Prince play guitar on While My Guitar Gently Weeps.
that was not Concert for George. That was a different one that they were
Yeah.
Yeah,
doing. It was
but
another it was another tribute to George Harrison, but it was not that particular one that I was speaking of.
but it had Tom Petty, I believe Bob Dylan, and a bunch of others in it, and it was when
Both of those are well worth looking up.
yeah.
I mean, that was the one that made me think, well, maybe Prince actually can play guitar instead of just prance around in a gold lame bikini.
If you got a minute, I can give you the lineup for Concert for George.
Oh, go right ahead, please do.
Eric Clapton, like you mentioned, Billy Preston, Ringo Starr, Jeff Lynne, Paul McCartney, Ravi Shankar, Jim Keltner, Tom Petty, Klaus Voormann, Joe Brown, Danny Harrison, Ray Cooper, Gary Brooker, Jules Holland, Sam Brown, Henry Spinetti, Dave Bronze, Albert Lee, and of course Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers as a group on there as well.
Now I've got to tell you, Jules Holland is underrated as a pianist.
Oh yeah,
he is absolutely. He's one of those people where you think he's just a talk show host, and then he sits down at a keyboard and starts banging something out. No, the man is very underrated. Believe me, even if he can't pronounce the sound W, whatever,
right,
or does overpronounce the sound W when it's not supposed to be in a word. But yeah,
Chuck Leavell was another underrated keyboard player.
Oh Lord, yeah. Well, there've been so many. One of my favorites is Rick Wakeman. He's doing a concert tour right now. I didn't. The man can do anything and everything, and he's funny as all get out when he sits and talks about his experience with playing along with Yes and all the different incarnations they had. It's just we could go. Well, Chris. We're doing Last Man Standing right now. Here we're talking about music on Stupid O'Clock, and we're gonna have nothing to talk about on Last Man Standing because we're gonna cover it all. Oh dear. Yeah,
you can talk about Concert for Bangladesh.
Yeah,
which is kind of the reason that was when they were
that was
putting together
George-
Concert for George, they had that
was
in mind.
George's biggest
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, that was his
And
Yeah.
yeah,
you know,
and that was a catastrophic event. They had a
Yeah.
devastating flood.
Oh yes.
yeah,
The
And
monsoons were terrible that year.
yeah, and people were flooded out of their homes. They were starving. There was no crops. Everything had just gotten washed out to sea, basically, except for the people,
Yeah.
and they were starving.
Kiri, if you're not familiar with Bangladesh, it was former East Pakistan. It's totally surrounded by India on three sides and the Bay of Bengal on the south.
On
I
the
figured that
seaside.
much.
Yeah.
yeah. The soundtrack album for Concert for Bangladesh is well worth getting if you like Harrison at all. And Eric Clapton and Billy Preston was there for that show. Bob Dylan, Leon Russell, just a whole slew of people.
Yeah. Billy Preston was counted as the fifth Beatle because he played piano for them a lot.
Yeah.
Ace ZZ Top is still supposed to be touring. Dusty insisted that they finish this tour. I don't know if they'll do anything after this tour, but Dusty more or less made him promise before he passed away that they finish this tour. So.
Yep. And
I heard the same.
As much as I hate to think that somebody could step into those shoes because they would be big shoes to fill, there are people who could do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just getting folks to accept that somebody's got to step into Dusty's shoes in order to keep the band alive.
Dusty insisted that his tech.
Hot rods.
Dusty insisted that his bass guitar tech finish the tour for him.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay. I couldn't remember who the
Billy Gibbons is a guitar player, and
Yep.
one with all the cars.
And Frank Beard was the drummer.
Yeah, the only guy in the band without a beard.
Yeah.
And who was Dusty related to?
Hank Hill.
Hank Hill. Yep.
King of the Hill.
That was a great episode.
That was a reference I would not have gotten. Thank you,
Oh,
John.
and
Oh, wow.
Billy Gibbons was the father to one of the lab people in Bones.
Oh, I did not know that.
And he was also one of Jimi Hendrix's favorite guitar players that Jimi Hendrix mentioned before he died.
Yep. Jimmy was very, very forthcoming with compliments of people he thought were
Yeah, especially
just better than him, but wrong though he may have been. Let's just say equally talented in a different direction is the way I would like to put it.
Well, I kind of sort of think of Billy. I think of Jimi Hendrix kind of off on his own little plateau that nobody can kind of truly touch. Same with Eddie Van Halen. They can emulate them to an extent, but they can never be them.
Yeah. Same thing with Stevie Ray Vaughan. Those plateaus are parallel.
Yeah.
They don't intersect.
No.
Yeah, Hendrix was the one who said that in reference to Terry Kath saying, I wish that I could be as good as Terry Kath from Chicago.
And that's one of the reasons why Chicago started to kind of come apart, because he was one of the main things of glue holding them together.
And that first album, if you ever want to know how great Terry Kath is, just listen to Chicago Transit Authority.
Yep.
and you'll get a lot of his great guitar work on there, especially the freeform one.
We did a lot of the Chicago stuff with from the 70s in the marching band. And do you have any idea how hard it is to get trumpets and French horns to imitate a guitar? Somebody
hard.
wrote the sheet music. We tried it. It worked, but I don't know how good we were.
One of my favorite sort of duos was Chicago and Al Green doing "So Tired of Being Alone."
Oh, that was a good one. Yeah, I'd almost forgotten that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Look, there's so much music that doesn't cross my mind that I knew of and had heard back in the day, and it's just back in the day was a long freaking time ago.
Well, I have to have stuff to jog my memory because I've almost forgotten about some things.
I saw Chicago in 1987. This was right after Peter Cetera left and Jason Schnepp took over for him, and everybody was all pissed about it. And we saw them in Lafayette, Indiana, and they had no opening act. They played for over 3 hours and 45 minutes. They had a 20-minute intermission about halfway through it, but they were awesome, and Jason did a really good job. As much as I like Cetera, his voice kind of emulated Cetera's a little bit, but you could still tell there was a difference, and he wasn't trying to impersonate him.
Well, it's just like Arnel Pineda with Journey. I can tell differences between him and Steve. Actually, Dean Castronovo sounds more like Steve Perry than Arnel does. If you ever listen to him sing Who's Crying Now or Mother Father, it'll give you chills.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, it's time for your bio break.
Oh, cool background, Kiri.
Yeah, he needs his bio break because he's fixing to spend 2 hours having to run the whole show. And Ace, I absolutely agree with you. 38 Special is a good band live.
Oh man!
I was just commenting on a friend's Facebook post. He was noting that depending on what time it is, where you're watching, to anyone watching the stream, it's been about 40 years since the Police released their 4th album. I don't remember the name of it. Right off.
Synchronicity too.
Andy Stewart was the drummer, right?
What?
Andy Stewart?
No, Stuart Copeland.
Stuart Copeland
was the guitar player, and of course Sting was the bass player.
Yeah, the drummer can't stand to speak to Sting and the other guy.
Jerry, are you thinking of Synchronicity too?
I think it's
the album was Synchronicity.
I think it's Ghost in the Machine.
Ghost in the Machine was 81, 82.
It was about 40 years ago today.
Yeah, Regatta de Blanc was 79. Zenyatta Mendata was 80, 81. Ghost in the Machine was 81, 82. Synchronicity was 83.
Yep.
Oh, 83, yeah.
Yep.
And then they did a hiatus in 84 to 86.
They did a reworking of Don't Stand So Close to Me for their greatest hits album, but somebody broke their arm. I can't remember if it was the guitar player or the drummer, so that was the only one that they redid. And then Sting went on to his solo career with Dream of the Blue Turtles. which was 87, and I believe he had either Wynton or Branford Marsalis playing with him.
I've got
I've seen Metallica live.
I've got the original vinyl record that I managed to buy pretty cheap from the thrift store. I think it was either 50 cents or $1 for the whole album. And
Good.
this was when I was just getting into vinyl records at the time. I just went ahead and played it for about a couple of hours, just listening to the tracks off that record.
Has somebody got something playing in the background?
I got a fan on underneath my table, but that's it.
Yeah, I've got a fan on.
I've got two fans. It's my fan club.
Oh.
We got our fans here for Chris.
So, Carrie, okay, you're talking about buying vinyl and listening to it. How, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'm 29.
29. Okay, so you're kind of in that age group that is discovering vinyl more so now. And I see a lot of people do that. When we had our estate sale a month ago, I was selling a bunch of vinyl records, and I would say the majority of the records that were sold were to people your age or younger.
Yeah.
And I mean, with all the clicks and hisses and everything, everybody told me, they said they would prefer that to clarity, which is a strange thing to hear somebody say.
I wouldn't think so.
I think I don't know, it's something about digital versus vinyl.
Digital has things mixed very, very loud. Vinyl, you can listen to it and the quiet parts come out without being scrambled by the boosting, the overdrive and whatever. Not
The
Carrie, get you a 33 and a third album of whatever group, and probably it would be one back in the 60s like the Beatles, where it was actually in stereo, and then put on your headphones and listen. I think Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band would be one that comes to mind, where you're hearing Paul's vocals here, or John's vocals here, and Paul and George's backings on this side, and then also with John's vocals you're hearing certain instrumentation with that, and then the other side another.
Yeah, now that's the thing with the Beatles music. The differentiation between right and left was very dramatic in it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's
Clear cut.
Yeah,
Those are some good points, Ace.
Yeah, that's when they discovered stereo.
Yeah, well, George Martin was a genius in the mixing studio. Believe me.
Yep.
Now, we were talking about concerts earlier. I saw Metallica when James Hetfield broke his arm and couldn't play.
Wow.
So who filled in?
John Marshall.
Not familiar, but
was this at Riverbend?
No, this was at the UTC Arena in 1986.
Wow, you went and see Metallica at 86?
Yeah, they opened for this guy named Ozzy.
Yeah. That's a good reason to go see him back then.
Yeah.
Here's something I didn't know about Black Sabbath. They habitually played "Smoke on the Water" live at their concerts. They never recorded it until there's this one thing that they're doing on YouTube right now, and they got just a ton of different musicians in a studio. Lord, I could not even begin to name all of them, but it's like bands that you would dream about being able to get tickets for, and you'd be happy if you got nosebleed seats because they were that good.
Have you heard all the guitar players that Ozzy has on his latest album that's about to come out?
No, I haven't. I
He's
didn't
got
even know he had a latest album about to come out.
He's got Tommy Iommi, Zach Wild. There's several others. My jaw was dropping. Like
it is Ozzy's last album.
Yeah.
Until he decides to come out of retirement. No, and I'm not saying that cynically. I'm saying that realistically, because somebody that creative is not just going to stop. He's going to have to die before his last album comes out.
You remember when he did the first No More Tours tour?
Yeah.
He figured he was done, and when he decided to go back out on the road, somebody asked him, he says, "It's the effing kids. They're driving me effing crazy." And he was talking about his own.
Yes, I know.
Well, if you've watched Jack and Ozzy's road tour, or Ozzy and Jack's road tour, you can see his ability to sing and talk and play is over.
Yeah.
Well,
it probably took days to record his vocals.
Yeah, I saw a recording of his recent tour with Black Sabbath, and it was sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
all those chemicals he tried and experimented with has finally caught up with him.
Well, you're talking about decades of physical abuse to somebody's body.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is eventually going to catch up, but.
Well, why has he not got to Keith Richards yet?
Well, I'll tell you one of the reasons why.
That is the rule that breaks the rules. Yes.
Somebody asked Keith Richards about it one time, and he explained to him, he said, a lot of these people get third-rate drugs from somebody they don't know. He says, the stuff we get is high quality, and it's from people we trust. And that can make a difference, I'm sure.
Not promoting drug use among the youth.
No. But if you're going to do it, that's probably the way you need to do it.
Yeah, really, you do need to go for the absolute most excellent quality of everything.
And Willie grows his own.
Yeah, I know. You've heard the story about the truck driver that was hauling sod through Texas and gets pulled over by a Texas state police officer. You've got these great big, huge, long foot diameter tubes that they have white plastic around the outsides of it. And the state trooper goes, "Hey, you weren't speeding. I just want to know where the Willie Nelson concert is going to be."
Well,
you're looking at something that looks like 100-yard long transfer truck load of joints, and you can see that this punchline is not that far from reality.
Well, have you seen the? I think it was a skit where Snoop Dogg comes out of Willie Nelson's little bus or van or whatever, and Snoop Dogg's like, "Dang."
ain't never smoking weed with Willie again. Yeah, that's a common thread there. I think there was an entire album about that.
Yeah, Toby Keith and Snoop Dogg.
Toby Keith, yeah. I didn't think it was Snoop Dogg.
No, Snoop Dogg was on the album, and Snoop agreed. He goes, "I'll smoke some weed. I ain't smoking with Willie no more."
That's the difference between amateurs and professionals, right there.
And Snoop's a professional.
Yeah, he thought he was.
Have you seen the meme that says we all need to think about the world we're going to be leaving behind for Willie and Keith Richards?
Yeah, I've also I've also seen the Highlander meme where it's Betty White and Keith Richards going. Betty's saying, "Hey, you knew it was going to come down to this."
There can only be one.
Yeah, really.
I really don't think that would happen because we were talking about it earlier today or Saturday, I should say. Betty White, Keanu Reeves, and Keith Richards, and they're all going to get along. They're like, cool. We're the last ones left.
Well, they'll just divide up the world between the three or four of them, because I'm sure there's somebody that we don't know about that's hidden away.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's probably Elvis.
No, he's a bartender on Beth Dish. No, seriously, I put him as a bartender in my Spaceport Bar Stories, and basically, just read the book. Read the book. It's fun.
Elvis would be 86.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Elvis and my dad are the same age. Elvis died on the same day or the day after my dad's birthday.
Yeah. Well,
and that really shook him up.
You have seen Bubba Hotep, haven't you?
Yeah.
I love that movie.
One of Bruce Campbell's best.
Yes, and there is a sequel, but I've never seen it. So,
have you ever heard of the band Dread Zeppelin?
Yes, I have. I love them. Jimmy Page loves them. It's basically
Elvis singing Led Zeppelin songs.
It's a reggae band with an Elvis impersonator as the lead singer, and they sing Led Zeppelin music and other classic songs. It is just. There was a friend of mine at work. He's sadly passed away now, who is the world's biggest Elvis fan and an Elvis impersonator. Showed up at kids' parties and stuff. They hired him out to pretend to be Elvis, and he just absolutely. I recorded the first two Dred Zeppelin albums and gave them to him on cassette, and he just absolutely loved it. Because he was hip enough to know it was Led Zeppelin songs, but an Elvis impersonator singing them just it tripped all his switches.
Yeah, they were one of my favorite radio stations, and Dan's probably remembers this one well. Back before they ruined it by getting rid of the Good Morning Show. 96 Rock.
96 Rock.
In Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
They had Christopher Reed and
I still have an empty slot programmed into my radio for 96 Rock in case it ever comes back. Because somebody's got to have some common sense somewhere. Bring this stuff back.
It's a hip hop station now.
That's why it's empty on my radio.
And they have a YouTube channel. Remind me to invite you to the group.
Oh,
they have a Facebook group and they have a YouTube channel. And they're trying to get it to where it's streaming.
Oh, let me tell you, that was the sound of my use. My radio was welded to 96 Rock back when there was an AM stations available to radio, which radios do not come with AM anymore.
Well, back in the day, WKLS 96 Rock and WZGC Z93 were the two main rock stations in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when the Chattanooga Cable Company, not Comcast, Chattanooga Cable Company, had cable stereo. You could hook your cable TV to your stereo, and you could get 96 Rock, Z93, and if you went all the way up to 107.9, you could get MTV in stereo.
Wow.
Now,
And that's how you got stereo TV, was you had to tune in through your cable TV.
there was a cable TV channel that we had on the local Athens way back when. The company does not exist anymore, but they had a music video channel, and there was some bizarre stuff on there, but they would play stuff like Spirit in the Sky, and it's not anything like the official video. It was more like some of the well, I can't
Hey,
even.
Jody.
Hey,
Hey,
Jody.
Jody.
Hello.
Good to see you. Sorry, we've only got 10 minutes left, but you're welcome to pop into Last Man Standing. So,
And Jody, you really missed a good show because we've been talking music all night.
Yeah.
yeah.
And speaking of Keith Richards talking about Last Man on Earth, I found something to where he
You have to move it over the other way.
There you go. Looked like Bruce Campbell sneaking up on him.
Oh, that's Burgess Meredith from the Twilight Zone episode Time Enough at Last. Burgess found out he wasn't the last man on Earth because Keith was running around.
Well, wouldn't that be a team up right there?
I almost thought that was Lyle Wagner.
It looked like Bruce Lee with an arm cut off.
I'm talking about the one behind him looked sort of like Lyle Wagner.
Well, Jody, that guest you had was absolutely amazing. I'm going to have to go back and watch the rest of it in a rerun. You deserved to let her keep right on going until she ran out of steam, because that was an excellent show, let me tell you.
Well, Dan, do you remember the old music video stuff that they would have on some of the other channels, like WTBS, the Superstation in Atlanta, had night tracks.
I remember that.
WAGA had I can't remember the name of it, but I know Craig Ashwood from Q94.1, before it became Star 94, hosted it.
Yeah, there were several we could get down here, but all but maybe one turned into well, let's put it politely. They turned into late night adult video channels that claimed to be music videos. After a while,
well,
that wasn't even the 70s. That was late 80s, I do believe.
Night Flight, I remember that.
Remember Night Flight?
That was USA Network, wasn't it?
Was that the NBC, MTV?
Could have been.
It originally aired on the USA Network from 81 to 88, and it actually predated MTV.
Yeah,
but it says here, and it was the first program to feature an eclectic mix of alternative music, video artists, interviews, B-movies, documentaries about short films, and stand-up comedy. And VH1 called it the single greatest rock omnibus program that ever aired.
Hey,
and they actually have a Facebook page.
Yeah, NBC had Friday night videos, and Showtime had what they used to call a Take 5, which they would show music videos in between movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was short bits in between different movies, wasn't it?
Yep.
Sort of a
So I
time
used to
filler.
see a lot of Rod Stewart's Young Turks and the Pretenders
Yep.
back in the Chain Gang.
Yep.
I'm going to say a name right now that's going to really bring back some memories for Chris and Dan, maybe John. Bill Tush.
Yep.
Oh Lord, that's something I ain't thought of in decades.
He was one of the original Hollywood reporters for CNN and Headline News.
He used to be one of the movie hosts and current affairs guys for Ted Turner TV before it became TBS.
Yeah.
Right. Remember when WTBS would always air all their programs at 5 minutes after the hour instead of on the hour?
Yep.
And Ted Turner always said that the reason why he did that was so that because his channel was so new, people were apt to go to the big three channels, so he would give them enough time to see what was on the big three. Then they could come back to WTBS, to the Atlanta channel, and not have missed a single minute of whatever program was going to come on.
Yep.
Now, you want to know the actual point of that? Is if somebody was tuned into his station, and when the show ended, shows on the other channels were already running.
5 minutes in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a full of skunk here. Sorry about that, but it's a duty. It's a sad duty that somebody has to do, and the man ain't here. So,
and I just got the 3-minute warning.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I see that, I think of Lapin. I don't know why.
That's where it came from. Well, no, that's not where
it was inspired by it.
That was inspired by it. There you go.
But we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. And if you've noticed, Bill, I've been running that eBay at the bottom all show to help promote the.
Oh, well, thank you.
Momcat. Yes.
What program or movie was it?
I actually did not notice that.
What was that, Kerry?
What program or movie was it that's almost the end of the show clip came from?
It was inspired by Laugh-In. It was Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, and it ran
back in the '60s. Yeah,
I believe.
When I was younger than your age. As unbelievable as that is.
Adult Swim or something like that.
Adult Swim could have been, yeah. They had a lot of good cartoons on that, and I think it's still going, although it's not anywhere near the same sort of, not the same content.
The youngster on Laugh-In was Goldie Hawn.
Wow.
Yeah, she was the baby of the show.
Yeah, that was before she and
Kurt Russell ever hooked
Kurt
up.
Russell got married. Yeah.
I don't think they're married still.
No, they ain't.
Yeah, they are married still.
No, they're not. They never got married.
Yep.
Oh well, they're still together though.
Yeah, still together.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna have to wrap it up. Say good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
All right.
have slipped the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter-silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds and done 100 things you have not dreamed of. Wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence. Hovering there, I've chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up, up the long, delirious, burning blue, I've topped the windswept heights with easy grace, when never lark nor even eagle flew. And while with silent, lifting mind, I've trod the high, untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand and touched the face of God.